You are listening to the global network of podcasters dedicated to the pharmacy profession. Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Has your business's marketing flatlined? Find your pulse again with Marketing Vitals, bringing you innovative and turnkey healthcare marketing solutions from industry experts who have developed a knack for solving problems. A co-hosted publication from GRX Marketing and Finch Marketing, sister companies that are passionate and knowledgeable about healthcare marketing.
Hey everybody, Nicole McClure back for another episode of Marketing Vitals podcast. So excited to have the godfather of podcasts, Todd Eury, is joining me today. Hey Todd.
Nicole McClure. It's so good to talk to you, to see you, to spend some time with you, especially when I don't have to talk about things that I don't want to talk about. Please don't bring up accounting or anything stressful about finances. Not at this time.
Lucky for you, this is a marketing podcast, so you should be okay. So, I'm so happy to have you join me. I have to tell the listeners, so you texted me, I think, a week or so ago, and you're like, hey, I want to be on your podcast. And I was like, it's your podcast, basically. Like, just tell me what to do. So here we are. But yes, always excited to talk marketing with you. I know we've worked together for a long time, been friends for a long time, always appreciate your insights. So I think this is the first time you've ever been on our podcast, though. So that's exciting.
Yes, it is. I don't like being on podcasts as much as I'd like. I don't really want to be. I really want to fade away and be more of a marketing and PR strategist through podcasting, and I'm so good at that. And that's where my comfort zone is. So as much as I've podcasted in 17 years, I really want to teach other people to be better communicators through audio and through podcasting, and how that's such a different media form than anything else. It's more intimate than even just straight video, and there's a element of your voice that people can tell if after a while, hey, are you full of crap? Are you being sincere? Is this interesting to listen to? Is it? And I've always diagnosed everything from the sound of my voice to what I'm talking about, what the cadence is of your voice, the fluctuation to keep people interested. And I'm thinking the same thing happens in that kind of communications, Nicole, where I'm concentrating on my clients in audio, but in the visual perspective, and having people Google you as a person, as a consultancy, as a marketing company, or in this case, in today's discussion, around being a pharmacy owner, and what do you look like as a business online? What are you talking about on your website? What are you pushing? What's the kind of vibe you're giving off? Is it inviting? And is it your digital signage that really talks about the character of you and your organization? So I want to dig into this with you, because I really think that back when you and I, oh my God, we're the veterans now, but we're 20 years ago, we were talking about website design, but that was in its infancy, really, especially in the pharmacy space, because pharmacists out there have been behind in website stuff and SEO and all of that. They've been behind by other professions 5-10 years out. And you know that, and I know that. And unfortunately, it's just we love you guys, and it's just tough love time. So let's dig into this.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. And yeah, I mean, I think the thing with websites for people to remember, it's oftentimes the first impression that people are going to have of you. So, you spend all of this time, money, and effort marketing your pharmacy, whether that's community outreach, connecting with prescribers, whatever it may be. And somebody goes to your website and it looks like it's from 10 years ago, hasn't been updated, doesn't properly work. It's immediate that they're going to then take a step back and think about, do they want to do business with you? Because it makes them question your validity.
Yep.
Are you still open? If your website looks really old. So to me, that's the reason why it's so important to have a website for your pharmacy. And it doesn't have to be super flashy and, big and 20 pages, anything like that. It just needs to look up to date and have current information, look personal, that sort of thing.
I push back because I hate the thought of doing anything with updating a website, creating a website. I just went through the exercise. I'm not actually, we're doing it with Finch Marketing. Finch has been guiding us through the entire process and taking where we were. Our website was about 3 years stale, and I was just regretting doing it because I don't like doing it. So shout out to the listeners, the pharmacy operators and the pharmacy owners. It's not cool. I mean, it's not fun to have to stop the cadence of your business and your human resource issues and staffing and funding and all the other things you're thinking of as a business owner, and to think, I need to update my website. And it's a horrible, it's not an experience I necessarily enjoy until I get into the creativity, because I do like that part of it. But stopping and making sure that I'm giving attention to our website as a communications company was an exercise that I had to go through. Shout out to Rachel on the Finch team. You guys you got to know me as an individual and how sporadic and much of a spaz I am in a lot of ways. And then they extracted all of the data, they get everything up. I'm embarrassed. I don't know, embarrassed, I guess is a strong word, but I will text Nicole McClure sometimes just things I'm thinking, and then after I read the text back to myself, I'm like, that sounded weird, like you're such a spaz. But that's one of the things I said to you was, I love the blog, like the freaking blog section of the way that you guys set it up. I can put information out very quickly. I can get my social media to spill over into attach into what's happening on my website, and that's the secret sauce that I'm getting into.
Yeah. And I think you hit on an important point of, yes, a website, doing a website can feel incredibly cumbersome. And I know there's, easy AI versions out there these days and that sort of thing. But it is still cumbersome because, as a pharmacy owner, you've got to sit there and think about what to write. And, that's where with us on the GRX and Finch side, we really walk our clients through that process. And, whether it's a brand new website for a new business, new pharmacy, or just revamping, we still go through that process of, what do you want the look to be? For a pharmacy specifically, is it old fashioned, vintage? Is it modern? Is it,
it's your personality.
Because it's your brand, right? Yeah. So how do you want people to see you online?
So Dr. Alec, the drugstore cowboy, that's the way I know him. He's an amazing blogger. The independent pharmacy owners love him. If you haven't heard of him, go Google drugstore cowboy. His blog is it's like a combination of a reporter with some Antonio Chacha in it, because he gets into the PBM data, but his pharmacy, his family's pharmacy, has gone through so many advancements and so many changes as a pharmacy, back when they used to do soda fountain and special drinks and everything. And now today, it's become more holistic driven and consultancy, and they're expanding their long-term care pharmacy at home services and delivery. But they never lost their brand of being this essential healthcare organization in the community, which brought in people. And it was more about fellowship than it was just about fast food, pharmacy. Everybody's ready to rush. And I think of his website. And when I went to his website, it was like, wow, this gives off the feeling of this, and that's exactly what you're saying. Your website should really be the sole personality in reflection of what your pharmacy is and means to you and means to the community.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, sometimes when we talk to pharmacy owners or business owners, it's like, well, I'll just use social media. Why do I really need a website? And social media is great, but those platforms are meant to drive people to your website. You can't get into in-depth explanation on your services, talking about packaging, compounding, that sort of thing on social media. you give them teasers to then go to your website to get more information. So, or if you're going to offer any sort of like patient refill, jot form, forms for patients, that sort of thing, none of that can be done through Facebook. So that's where they work together, not separate from each other.
Your website is your digital control room where you could do a lot of things. You could be minimal, in my opinion. Minimal is giving a visual aesthetic of your pharmacy, either high definition pictures of the insides of your pharmacy or your staff, or just making it very personal to your community. Minimum of kind of like the about section and your services and your hours and everything. But if you really want to take advantage of some of the experience and some of the domino effect and staging of marketing that you guys and Finch have helped to put together, and it's all based on sucking up all this knowledge you guys had in community pharmacy, and now it's kind of like, all right, we're doing a little bit more advanced stuff, because you could build clinical scheduling things in your pharmacy right off of a blog that you guys did, a blog on nutrition, and it's like, hey, schedule time with us to talk to you about if you're on a GLP-1 or if you're a diabetic or if you're some disease state, you need to come to this nutrition gathering or something and listen to our pharmacist and nutrition and those kind of events. So what I'm saying is your website can have components to it to give depth and relevancy that the social media pushes to, because social media isn't to be as in depth about you and your organization and your stories, because you want them to come into your environment, because your environment gives them a chance to engage you more. Whereas it's almost like social media is like outside the store, and it's like, but then your website is you step inside your store, inside your pharmacy. I think of that as almost like the difference.
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy. I mean, social media is kind of what newspaper or road signs used to be. They're giving you a little bit of tidbits of information to drive you to the pharmacy. So, right. Yeah, and I think with websites too, I mean, I encourage everybody listening to go out and look at your website. I mean, when's the last time you looked at your business's website?
Yeah.
And, back to your example, with the drugstore cowboy does your website reflect what you're currently doing? A lot of pharmacy owners are adding a lot of new additional services, the GLP-1s, long-term care at home, that sort of thing. But if it's not on your website, then again, people that aren't using your pharmacy may not realize that you even offer it. And so they're going to skip over you and go to your competitor, whether that's locally, online, whatever it may be. There's so many different avenues now for people to go to.
Nicole, if you go to CVS Health's website or Walgreens website, very professional looking, they're laid out nicely. I think the communications are great on them. Cold. It's cold, corporate, cold. You are a freaking independent pharmacy. You're an independent infusion pharmacy. You're an independent owned compounding pharmacy or a long-term care pharmacy. I always consider all of those independents if they're privately owned, if they're not publicly traded, they're independent. All right. So your website, if it's in the community pharmacy, for example, should kind of tie in the community a little bit. It shouldn't look like everybody else's website. It shouldn't look like those days of setting up websites like steel towns. I come from a steel town, Pittsburgh area. And when the steel industry went in, they set up all these little box homes that are around today. They were great made, stone and wood and everything. But they all looked exactly the same. But that was for the time. Same damn thing with your website. There was a time in the evolution of websites and communications through digital that your box type websites were great. It was good information. It was a minimum. But we are such a visual, overstimulated iPad baby, raising with screens. Visual ties back to professionalism, ties back to messaging, ties back to character of your business. And then that, of course, means trust. So I think that it's time that everybody listening to this podcast, you don't want to do it. I know you don't want to do it. I hated to do it, but I made myself do it because we're getting ready for growth in our publication and our services. And I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite and say what it was, because I admit it. I admit, Nicole, that I didn't like it. It was like going to the dentist. But my teeth in the website world are so not only stable and ready to go and like dump out everything I want. We have our shows, we have our about section, we have our blog section, which is the most active section. But you have got to bite the bullet, because you're not in the day and age anymore, 2026, where a block and tackle, very obscure, kind of not very engaging website it's gonna turn people off. And you're so much more than that. If they could tell their story, Nicole, of what they do and express that through their landing pages and websites and things that you guys can help them do. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and one more thing I'll just add to that. I mean, you kind of talked about it earlier, is how you mentioned like love doing the blog on your website, and that's what we try to do. I mean, with our clients, you can be as active or inactive as you want with your website. So we will build the site, we write all the content, create the graphics, get store photos, that sort of thing. But going forward as a pharmacy owner, if you want to write a blog or you want to have access to make updates to your website, I mean, that's something that we work with clients with. Work with them on. But if you're like, nope, you guys got it, that sort of thing. So that's the great thing with us, is we really are flexible in the sense of what the client wants to do. So I think that's pretty rare among vendors.
It is very rare. If you're looking at us on any of the visuals, so we'll have like a YouTube version of this. I'm showing you the back end of our blog site. And the fact that my Rachel on our team through Finch can come in here and help us with the development of this content or not. Now, I'm a spaz. I'm a little bit of a control freak. So I'm like, no, Rachel, I don't need help. But at any time, you could be pulling a lever to say, listen, we're going to either co-write stuff, or you're going to put some stuff in here that we can like help you develop. And it's very personalized, because the age of AI, there's good and bad about everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you put out block and tackle AI stuff that is not personalized to your client, not personalized to your community, not talking about what happened to the high school basketball games, championship, playoff games, and then you wrap that into a nutritional blog or whatever it is that you're doing, you can use AI. I use it for spell check more than anything, in organization of kind of like how I structure contracts and that really boring stuff. I love it for that. But yeah, I personalize my writings. And I think that therein lies where Finch and GRX Marketing is helping the community pharmacy, because they're like, hey, tell us a little bit about your area and what it is. And listen, we're going to go to town, and we could either turnkey this stuff, or we'll work with you every once in a while, like on an ongoing meeting where we come together and we talk about, hey, let's talk about your blog for the next quarter or 3 in a row or whatever it is. But talk to us about that, because you guys have really helped me to kind of reorganize what we're doing.
Yeah, so I think it's just a kind of how our process works of strategizing with the client and making sure we're capturing their services. And I think a website it can grow with your business, right? So you can start with just the basic services as a pharmacy or whatever. If you're not doing a ton of services, let's just get that information out there. But then as you're adding things, we can add pages, forms, blogs, all that stuff. But yeah, helping craft that message. And then, the messaging on your website can carry over, like we talked about, to social media. That branding should be filtered down to in the pharmacy, any sort of digital outside advertising that you're doing, so that consistency messaging is hitting across all platforms. So,
Yep. The use of QR codes is expanding. You could put out with every single receipt that you put out on, you might give a special little coupon of some sort that has a QR code on it. You scan the QR code, it's drawing people back to a specific blog that you talked about, I don't know, a nutrition course or long-term care pharmacy at home services or whatever it is. Now you're driving people to content that isn't just informative and shows much credibility in your authority as a pharmacist and someone taking care of the community. But now all of a sudden you're showing a program that will lead to new revenue, whether that's getting together in the community or a woman's health services day or a contraception education day. But remember, you have to pull in more business, today for the future and what's happening in independent community pharmacy than just relying on, PBMs to reimburse you through your script volume.
Mm-hmm. And the great thing about QR codes, or just basically anything you do on your website, is it's all trackable. Because I know pharmacy owners don't like marketing a lot because it's gray and can't always measure ROI. It's not black and white. But with website stuff, I mean, we can track all of that. We can see which pages are most popular, where they're coming from, that sort of thing. And, what part of the community they're coming from. I mean, you can get pretty granular these days. So that's where it's nice then to show too of, hey, since building your website, doing a new launch of your website, like here's how the traffic has grown, or here's what's resonating with your community. Then you can go back and say, oh my gosh, everybody is going to the nutrition blog. Maybe we should really lean into that and, start a full nutrition program, that sort of thing. So it really lends itself to give you a clue into what people are interested in your local community as well.
Let's talk about metrics for a second, because now you need your feedback from how you're being received via your website, what content's popping, what stuff isn't working. But something that Rachel has done for us through Finch is taught us to see the keywords that are bringing people traffic to our website. And I'm like, you know what? I remember hearing about that 15, even 20 years ago with some of the things that with blogging coming out. But that is so important today because now SEO is not only about the platform, it's literally now becoming 360, where those terminologies are now associated with social media content that's associated with you. So if you're on Instagram and you're on Facebook and you're on Twitter and you're on TikTok and you're basically saying those same things that are also communicated on your website, not only is that credibility for you as a brand, but SEO is sniffing that out. And I love that. Like you guys gave me a powerful lesson understanding that. And now I'm being a little bit more manipulative of what wording I'm using so that I take advantage of that kind of pull in and that SEO. And how important that is to being found in such a, pharmacy. If you put in the word pharmacy, Butler, Pennsylvania, pharmacy, Orlando, Florida, I mean, goodness gracious, like that can't be it. It has to be, being found in so many different variants and ways.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes it's surprising to see, what people are searching to get to your website. But yeah, it really gleans, again, back what your community is looking for. And I mean, now you have AEO, which is answer engine optimization. So you've got the chat. What are the chat bots or the chat GPT and those sort of things pulling in. So that's where, my team stays abreast on all of that stuff. I have a website project manager dedicated to staying up to date on all of those latest trends to make sure that we're providing the back-end SEO, AEO for our clients. Because, Google and all the search engines like to switch it up every probably 3 to 6 months on what they're looking for. Yeah. So if you don't have a vendor that is staying up to date on that, then you could build the greatest website, but if nothing is being done to it on a regular basis, it's going to just slowly kind of fall down in the search results.
Yeah, no, it's not, once again, I sound like the old fogey on the podcast, but it's really, it's not what it was 20 years, 10 years, right. 5 years ago, because you could set it and forget it and really get away with a lot of even bad habits. And sure enough, when I started running into the road with our previous site, it was my fault that it did this, but things started crashing. There was not updates being done. And then it looked really bad. I had several proposals I had going on, several clients that I was after, and I'd get an email from them in the midst of, a sell cycle or business development cycle, and they're like, your website is down, or your website is, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. So it was like, hey, let's get into the gym and let's do some exercise and get my website up. And that's where that guidance from your team, though, Nicole, was key, because I could absolutely not have done it by myself because of how busy that we are in the conference season and everything going on. So, huge shout outs to the team, Rachel, and you guys, for putting it back on the map. We are back on the map.
Yes. No, I appreciate that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just go get a website if you don't have one. If you have an old, outdated one, we would love the opportunity to revamp one for you. So, anything else, Todd, to kind of wrap up about website and digital marketing?
I always encourage people to do your own research. We hate hearing that from our patients, I'm sure, but do your own research. Literally go out and Google pharmacy marketing, Google specialty pharmacy marketing, or long-term care pharmacy marketing, or long-term care pharmacy at home marketing, or better yet, just go to pharmacymarketing.com and schedule time with somebody on their team and be very specific, because the more specific you are with Finch, if you're more like on the specialty side or business side within the pharmaceutical markets, if you're a pharmacy, a GRX marketing, and that's really where the infrastructure and all of these ideas really came from anyway. I could tell your story, Nicole. I've watched you grow since you came out of, what was the chain that you oversaw as director of marketing?
Medicap pharmacies. Yep.
Yeah, I'll tell Nicole McClure's story someday, because I think it really is something. You've come a long way, and you've taken the punches in the face, just like me, with so many things that worked and didn't work, and pushback, and the stubbornness of the independent community pharmacist owner. And it's fun to do this. So I had a ball today.
No, I did too. And Todd, I owe you a lot of credit, because you were one of the first to take a chance on me and give me a voice on your podcast. I mean, it was a struggle at first because we were brand new to the industry. Nobody knew who we were. So I thank you for everything that you've done to help me and my company.
Together RX. Let's go.
And now that we've gotten super weepy and emotional, let's wrap up this podcast.
I'm not crying. You're crying. Verklempt.
Well, thank you, Todd, for joining me. Let's not let another, 20 years go by before we get on one of my podcasts again together. So
what's up with that? All right. Cole, go take a look. Pharmacymarketing.com.
Thank you. You've listening to another episode of Marketing Vitals Podcast.